Maham Dhanavad Pranam. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shiradev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Canto 1, Chapter 6, Text 22. Sakridya darshitam rupam etat kamhaya te naga matkama sanakai sadhu sarvan munchati hrichayan. O virtuous one, you have only once seen my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me. Because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. Purport. A living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He must be working, thinking, feeling, and willing. But when he thinks, feels, and wills materially, he becomes entangled, and conversely, when he thinks, feels, and wills for the service of the Lord, he becomes gradually freed from all entanglement. The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires a hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. Material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. One can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation or end. By intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendently. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in service because his service and his person are identical. The sincere devotee should go on with sincere service of the Lord. The Lord will give proper direction as to how and where it has to be done. There is no material desire in Nārada, and yet just to increase his intense desire for the Lord, he was so advised. Before we start reading Bhagavatam, I'm supposed to say the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 23. Satsevaya dirghaya pi jata mai dridha mati hitvav adyam imam lokam ganta majjanatam asi. By service of the absolute truth, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate. In the transcendental world, after giving up the present deplorable material worlds. Purport. Serving the absolute truth means rendering service unto the absolute personality of Godhead under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, who is a transparent medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. The neophyte devotee has no ability to approach the absolute personality of Godhead by the strength of his present imperfect material senses, and therefore, under the direction of the spiritual master, he is trained in transcendental service of the Lord. And by such training, even for some days, the neophyte devotee gets intelligence in such transcendental service, which leads him ultimately to get free from perpetual inhabitation in the material worlds, and to be promoted to the transcendental world, to become one of the liberated associates of the Lord in the kingdom of God. Text 24. Matirmai nibadheyam navipadyeta karhichit Prajasarga nirodhepi smritis chamad anugrahat. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation, as well as at the time of annihilation. Your remembrance will continue by my mercy. Purport. Devotional service rendered to the personality of Godhead never goes in vain. Since the personality of Godhead is eternal intelligence applied in his service, since the personality of Godhead is eternal Intelligence applied in his service or anything done in his relation is also permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth, and when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the personality of Godhead. Such accumulation of God's service is never vanquished, but increases till fully matured. 25. Text 25. Itavad uktvo pararama. Itavad uktvo pararama tanmahad. Bhutam nabolingam alingam ishvaram. Aham cha tasmai mahatam mahishyase. Shirsnavanamam vidhade nukampita. Then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. Purport. That the personality of Godhead was not seen, but only heard, does not make any difference. The personality of Godhead produced the four Vedas by his breathing, and he is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is the sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity. The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. 26. Namanyantasya hata trapapatan guhyani bhadrani kritani chasmaran gamparyatam stusta managata sriha kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsara. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated resuscitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Purport. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Nārada Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire, to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and, according to personal capacity, to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive of material gain. Text 27. Evam Krishna Mater Brahman Nasaktasyama mana Kalha Pradur Abhutkale Tadit Sudhamani Yata. And so, O Brahmana Vyāsadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death, as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport. To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That is the sign of spiritually enriched persons, and in due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection, due to his body's being spiritualized like a red hot iron in contact with fire. Text 28. Prayujamane maitam sudham bhagavatim tanum arabdha karma nirvano nyapatat pancha bhautika. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of the five material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped. Purport. Informed by the personality of Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Nārada got his spiritual body as soon as he quit his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with three primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these three qualities. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities, as soon as he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. It acts like the magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of the three qualitative modes of material nature upon the pure devotee. There are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of Godhead face to face, apparently in the same body. This means that the quality of a devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. That is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis via the authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from Indragopa, germ, up to the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subjected to the law of karma, and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their own work. Only the devotee is exempt from such reactions, by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Authority, the personality of Godhead. Text 29. Kalpanta idam adhaya sayhanem bhasyudhanvata sishyai anupranam vivishentar aham vibo. At the end of the millennium, when the personality of Godhead Lord Narayana laid down within the water of devastation, Brahma began to enter into him along with all creative elements, and also entered through his breathing. Purport. Nārada is known as the son of Brahma, as Lord Krishna is known as the son of Vāsadeva. The personality of Godhead and his liberated devotees, like Nārada, appeared in the material world by the same process. As it is said in Bhagavad Gita, the birth and activities of the Lord are all transcendental. Therefore, according to authorized opinion, the birth of Nārada as the son of Brahma is also a transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearance are practically on the same level as that of the Lord. The Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different, as spiritual entities. They belong to the same category of transcendence. Text 30. Sahasra yuga prayante utayedam sishrakshata marichi mishra rashaya pranabhyoham chajanire. After 4,300,000 after 4,300,000,000 solar years, when Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord, all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appeared along with them. Purport. The duration of a day in the life of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 solar years. This is stated also in the Bhagavad Gita. So, for this period, Brahmaji rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of the Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the generator of Brahma. Thus, after the sleeping period of Brahma, when there is again creation by the will of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, all the great rishis again appear from different parts of the transcendental body, and Nārada also appears. This means that Nārada appears in the same transcendental body just as a man awakes from sleep in the same body. Sri Nārada is eternally free to move in all parts of the transcendental and material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without distinction of body and soul, unlike conditional beings, or conditioned beings. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 31 on Wednesday. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to our Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, to the worldwide devotees, Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Ekachakra Dham Ki Jai. All glories to Nishingapali Dham Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Nitai Gora Hari Hari Bol.